Well, I welcome everybody to this week's edition of our Sales Club, sponsored by both 3D Pro Services and the American Club Association, ACA. And we're going to get started on today's session, which is kind of a reference to customer service. And I'm going to do the story of Bob Farrell for you, but to do it justice, I'd also encourage you to go watch Bob Farrell Pickle story at YouTube. And all you have to do is type in Bob Farrell, Farrell's Ice Cream. There's the link. It's about a 3 minute, 50-second video about his story, but let me summarize it a little bit for you. Bob Farrell owns Farrell Ice Cream, and they have several different franchise locations across the country. He's actually moved from being the president of that company to really just being a speaker of customer service and customer service wisdom. But the story goes like this: this hamburger shop, ice cream parlor combination that he has always would give people with their sandwich, their hamburger, anything they ordered, gave them a pickle. Well, one day he gets a letter from a patron who says, "Mr. Farrell, I'm really disappointed in your store. I went into your Portland store to have my customary Tuesday hamburger, and when I got my basket, I didn't get a pickle. So I went up to the cashier and I said, 'Hey, I'd like to get a pickle,' and she said that'd be 75 cents." And I was really discouraged by that because I've always gone there and I love you've got the best pickles. I love your pickles, but I don't think I'm going to go to your store anymore because of the way your people treated me as if they claimed that I already got a pickle and I was trying to steal a pickle from them. And so Mr. Farrell wrote back to the gentleman, "I'm so deeply sorry. I apologize. Here's some coupons for you. Please come back. Try us again." But it got him thinking about his entire customer service experience at his restaurants. And he started his whole campaign with all of his staff is give him a pickle, just give him a pickle. So he's gone through this whole series now of creating what is it in customer service? What pickle do we give them? Because he said it, and I love what he says. Our business is not what we sell, but who we serve. And do enough companies really focus on that subject as opposed to the actual product? It is who is it that we serve, and are we making service our number one priority? So, do we have pickles to give? And he was doing one of his tours and speeches, and somebody came up and said, "Hey, Mr. Farrell, I really like your story about your pickles. And we give a pickle to all of our customers." And he said, "Well, what do you do?" And the gentleman says, "Well, I'm a garbage man." And well, that seems weird. Pickles, garbage, how's that go? He says, "No, no, no. We have a policy that as we're out driving around and we're picking up garbage, if we see anybody trying to start their lawnmower, we will get off the truck and we will start any lawnmower guaranteed anytime." And that's what we've become known as the services that people, and we took this company from being that negative thought process of a garbage man that people actually look forward and hope that our trucks come around now, almost like the ice cream truck. They hear the noise of the garbage truck and they take their truck, their lawnmowers out of their driveway or garage and bring up to the curb and hope that we can start it for them. So that's what we talk about. What are we giving to people? And pickle is just kind of a euphemism for whatever it is that you want to give them. But are we consistently giving something to a customer? And so as we go through this, what is it that you can give as a company that can make people remind or think about what is makes you guys exceptional? What makes your company so unique because everybody gets something from you? Now, I don't care. It can be anything from just a special touch, but whatever you can do to exceed one's expectations. So, is there a pickle that you can leave people with that makes them think about how different you are? Because I have another phrase that some of you have been through my training here is different is better than better. Most of the time, most salespeople are out doing benefits and features. What I mean by that is they say, let's take the feature of my company and convince you why it's a benefit. And we're better than everybody else. And I think what happens, I have another training called Spin Junction where we talk about what management does to people. We hire somebody And first 2 weeks, we put them through product knowledge, and we're teaching them that we got the latest, greatest, most improved. We're better than the competition. And what happens is this new employee thinks, well, this must be important. They just spent 2 weeks spending all this time teaching me about how great this company is. I guess I got to go out and regurgitate it. So the idea is what I'm trying to say is, what is it that we're doing to these employees? Are we really telling them that we're different than everybody else, or are we better? And I think different is better than better. So what is it you can do that's different so that your customer itself doesn't have to think about whether you're better than the competition? It's that you're just different. And giving them a pickle is something that I wanted you all to think about. So they, Bob Farrell put together 4 different key principles of customer service. The first one obviously is service, then attitude, then consistency of providing that service, and teamwork to deliver it as a company-wide part of your product or service. So again, think about service as your number one priority. And I have a saying, pardon me, are you selling for your reasons or for the customers? And anytime you're selling for your reasons instead of the customers, I would consider you now a hard closer. But I think, if you're the type of person that your salespeople are closing because they have to meet their quota, I've got to make a sale this week because I need to meet my car payment, and you're thinking about the sale from your perspective first, I think you're putting yourself in a bad situation instead of thinking service to the customer is our number one priority. So if you think about this week, I've been working with a realtor trying to find some office space. And quite frankly, I got a little bit discouraged because a lot of the comments and stuff from the realtor I was thinking about were because he wanted to make his commission. He wanted to make his sale before the end of the month. A lot of pushing and prodding. And I got the feeling that he was selling for his reasons instead of mine. So always think about that. One of the stories I have is I was training a company that sells turnout equipment to fire departments. They sell the boots, the gear, the heavy jackets, jaws of life. And the owner of the company called me up and says, hey, I heard about you. I want you to teach my guys to sell. And of course, following into my typical pattern, I asked more questions. I said, well, tell me more, help me understand why you'd even need sales training. And he said, well, here's what happened. One of our guys made a mistake and we ordered 80 more pairs of boots than we need. So I just want them to sell these boots. I don't care if they're buying jaws of life. I don't care if they're buying helmets. I want my guys to include a pair of boots so that we get these off the table, or get them off the shelves rather. And I said, well, do they need it? I don't care if they need it or not. We just need to get it off the shelf. And I thought, again, that's going to be difficult because now you're selling for your reasons. When I did train them, I trained the salespeople on this. Hey, when you meet with somebody, just ask a simple question. Suppose I said that we have this, or this extra boot, and we can pass that on to you in a big savings. If we did that, would that be something you'd want to hear about? And then the client's buying it for their reasons instead of you trying to push it for their reasons. So number one, Bob Farrell said, is make service your number one priority. And again, then you start thinking about what is it that your customers expect? They expect you to at least meet expectations. You should strive to exceed their expectations. If a company's entire mission is, our goal is to exceed the expectations, it sets that benchmark, that bar so much higher that now everybody in the company is striving to exceed those expectations. Have that courage to make things right. So I sometimes I get pushback on this slide because people say, well, that whole idea, the customer's not always right. Well, remember, even if they are wrong, they will tell others that you're wrong and that they're right. So have the courage to make it right when the client comes to you and says, I didn't get what I expected. Because the customers, if you meet their expectations, they'll like you. If you exceed their expectations, they'll fall in love with you. But if you fail to meet their expectations, they'll hold you beneath contempt and pass that on to other people, especially in this day and age where everybody can put a comment on on the web or Yelp or something like that, we have to be careful about how we make that client feel. And I think you need to think about that old line that, you know, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. So again, start servicing people. Attitude was the next thing they put up is for. The manner of acting and feeling and thinking that shows one's disposition and opinion is attitude. So again, how you think about the customers, how you're end up going to treat them. So some customers are stupid, and that's the attitude that somebody has. And Bob Farrell put this slide up because he had a story about how he was in one of his stores as a secret shopper, and the waitress that served him just had that, didn't, had a terrible attitude. And when he went up to her later, he said, you seem to have be in a bad mood and bad attitude. I'm Bob Farrell. I'm the owner of this company. What's going on? And she says, well, I just haven't made the money I need to make here. I'm thinking about going somewhere else. And he said, you know what? I can help you if you just give me the next 2 hours. For the next 2 hours, I just want to see a smile. I want to see a smile on your face. And I'll guarantee that if you don't make at least $100 in tips, I'll pay you that $100. And smile, 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 and have that attitude. And as soon as she changed her attitude, now the money starts to came in. But I want you to think about it this way. What really changed? Was it her attitude or was it her behavior? Behavior controls attitude. You can't always control your attitude. You might be in a bad mood or whatever, but you can always control your behavior. So, smiling is a behavior that you have that will control not only your attitude, but your customer's attitude. And I don't think we do that enough, and we don't practice it enough, and we don't live that. And the joke I usually do here is, what's the biggest word in the English language? Smiles, because there's a mile between both S's. So it is the biggest word in the English language, smiles. So if you think about it, that's what you need to do to create that attitude. So customer service is really a high calling. So be proud of what you do. Now, those of you that are on the call or listening to this call, and if you're thinking, well, I'm a salesman, we have a customer service department that handles that. You are customer service too. Everything we do, if you touch it, smell it, taste it, walk on it, it has anything to do that touches your customer, it's customer service. And I actually like to use the word customer care, because isn't that what we really do? Don't we want to care about our customers? So again, helping one another and help park that poor attitude at the door within the entire company. If you're seeing somebody with that poor attitude, it's important to help that person get past that, because that message can be carried on to somebody else and it affects somebody else too. Consistency, Bob put together, is important to customers. They want to see that consistent behavior and that productivity throughout their customer experience. Their customer experience starts from the moment somebody either reaches out to them, prospects to them, or they call you, all the way through the time that they choose to purchase the product, and then continues as they continue to use your product or service. So consistency throughout that entire customer journey is hugely important. It just can't be at the point of purchase. It has to be throughout the entire process. So give them what they want and what they expect. Teamwork. What you do impacts all those other team members and also then impacts that customer. So are you providing that customer service throughout the entire team? And has the company actually taken time to meet with everybody and have this conversation like we're having today, that how valuable customer service is to the entire customer experience, just not one component of it. So everything we do eventually ends up in front of the customer. So when he starts thinking about, what we can do to make each other look good, it is that team process instead of sales department saying, well, the sales, we're responsible. We brought in the sale. We're more important than customer service. Customer service says, well, you've got nothing to sell if we don't provide a good product or service. We're all hand in hand. None is any more important than the other department. But I want you to start thinking about, again, smarter goals. Remember, customer service goals, as opposed to both sales goals, need to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time focused. And what I mean by that, if we're going to set a goal and sit there and say, hey, our customer service experience, we're going to be at 91% customer satisfaction by when? You know, a lot of companies will say that we want to have, you know, customer service at this percentage when we do our customer surveys, but have a goal that, boy, we are going to improve our customer. We're going to take our customer experience from 90% a favorable rating to 95% within 3 months. There has to be a specific time set aside to goals. And we were just Steve was talking about South Carolina before we started the Gamecocks, and Lou Holtz, who coached the South Carolina, he had favorite line: goals are of no value unless followed by a specific plan of action. Anybody can go write goals, but if you don't have a specific plan of action with specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time focused goals, it is no value to you at all anyway. So our job is to make the customers happy. What are we doing to make customers happy? Give them a pickle. What I mean by that, what is it that we can give somebody? And it doesn't have to be a Chotsky. It could be a freebie. It could be a free introduction to my training program. It could be anything that just makes you different than the customer. So as you've listened to this record webinar, or you're watching it, you should be thinking about that garbage company that I talked about, that the pickle was that they would start any lawnmower at any time. That had very little to do with garbage, but it had so much to do with how people felt about those guys. Instead of them thinking, oh, the garbage man, they dumped the garbage all over the place, and like whatever it is, the negative went away because they started giving people a different type of pickle. Maybe it can be something like, I have one customer that actually uses me. What I mean by that is they do customer appreciation. Once a year, they send out to all their customers, hey, we've hired this motivational speaker. It is free. It's a customer appreciation. All our customers can go to this for free. And I do my no guts, no gain training on, the 16 habits of successful people and 21 barriers to success. And they give that away to all their customers as a freebie. Is there something you can send somebody? Is there something that of value to them that doesn't cost you a lot of money, but it's something that they get to remember you by and think about it? So when you hear the word pickle, the pickle is just a substitute for some type of service that you can provide somebody that separates you from anybody else. So at this point, has anybody got anything they want to add? Because this is my last slide, but is there anything you want to add as far as what a potential pickle would be, or any questions that you might have? Steve or Martin, anything on your part that you've seen anybody else do as something they give to people that makes them think of them as a different?
Yeah, I've just been thinking about this because they're it's there's probably 100 different things we could do, and I'm trying to think what would be something that the customer would want that would make a great impact, but is not going to necessarily have a negative impact financially on our company.
It could be even just something that you send somebody a video link to a YouTube thing on educational about what even a white balance means on a camera, or
Yeah,
what
yeah,
what's the latest trend from 4K to what's the next thing coming up.
hmm
Something that the client didn't expect to get from you, that they would go, oh, thank you very much, I appreciate that. And I think sometimes we get too
yeah.
focused in on thinking it's got to be, some type of a freebie, a keychain, a flashlight, a USB drive, something like that. It can just be something that the client didn't expect to get from you, that now makes them think about how you're different than the competition.
Yeah, I mean, like the hat has become the the standard trading fair for everybody. And, everybody's got, I mean, you can go broke on giving out hats, and you drive by or you go by, and the, the customer you just gave the hat to walks up, and he puts the hat in his truck with the 25 other hats that he's got. But, you give them something kind of substantial that they can use. So
And again, for those of you that are online live and those of you watching the video, I didn't mean to have you think you had to come up with something right now.
oh yeah, no,
But the
I'm
whole
just,
concept is the pickle. What is it that we can give somebody that we hadn't thought of before? Because we think that the product that they bought from us should suffice and that should be enough. We gave them a great deal on a product or service and that should be enough. But what else is it that I'm going to leave them with? And a lot of times in mine, it is a video. Sometimes I will just send somebody a link to something. Hey, this I thought would be of interest to you. A white paper, a booklet, just something that will enhance their day that they didn't expect to get today.
Yeah, I think Wayne, they nailed it right there. Just giving some additional value beyond your great service you're already offering, but it really sets you apart from the competition too. Solidifies your relationship with that person. I mean, taking it a step further, like we do something called celebration marketing and say, thanks for being a client. We'd like to sponsor your next business anniversary if they're in business, of course, and just going way above and beyond and helping them build great, if they're in business themselves, help them grow their business beyond just offering a great service. But one thing that really stood out to me in this whole thing was the goals. Having goals without an action plan, a game plan for that, kind of worthless. And so that's my big takeaway from this whole thing. Awesome.
And you've seen the smarter many. I mean, that's not new. I didn't come up with the smarter. Anybody that's done any type of training in their life has seen the smarter. Let me pull this up real quick and go to that slide because I want to add something to it. There we go. Oh, didn't pull it up. So SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound.
Mm-hmm.
And I add smarter. I add enjoyable and rewarding.
I love it.
So if you think about it, companies all, most goals at company level are handed down and they're from top down, where goals actually should be from bottom up. Because when I work with a lot of sales teams, here's what happens, and Steve will probably attest to this. The company comes up and the board of directors says, we're going to make 20 million this year. And so now that the board decided they're going to bring in 20 million in revenue. And so now they go to the sales manager and says, okay, your goal is to do 20 million. Can you do it? Well, what's the sales manager going to say? Now he walks away, well, we'll do our best. And now he goes back to his sales team and he starts dividing up that 20 million and says, well, Steve, you got a better territory. It's been more established. You should probably do 4 million. And Rex, you're in a new area. So we're only going to expect 2 million from you. And so and then the salesman, so can you do it? And what are the salespeople going to say? No, that sucks. I can't do it. They're going to, well, yeah, we'll do our best. And they walk away. That'll never happen. And because the goals came from the top down, people didn't buy into it, no matter if they were specific, measurable, attainable, whatever, because they didn't have any buy-in. Goals should be from the bottom up. They should be from the participation of everybody in the company to get to the point where we say, this is what I think we can do. And I learned that early from my mentor, Jerry Lewis, when I was doing fundraising. When I was the National Youth Director of several states, Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas, and I had to raise money, Jerry didn't come to me as an 18-year-old college kid and say, hey, how much money do you think you can raise? What he did is he had workshops and said, this is what this team did. What do you think another could do? If you could do this and you could duplicate that, what kind of volume do you think you could generate? And together we came up with $3 million. So when my goal was to raise $3 million by going to K-State, Manhattan, Lawrence, Kansas, and go to different places like that to get the APO or the Pike fraternity or the Gamma Phi's to put on the fundraising event. I had buy-in to that goal. I didn't go to them and think, boy, they're going to do a dance marathon and they're never going to raise $20 million. It's never going to happen. I had buy-in. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes most companies do is they set their goals, their financial goals, top down instead of bottom up. And even what they're afraid of is this. They're afraid that if I tell Steve and his team that we want you to help set the goals, they won't set the goals high enough. And we want you to bring in 10, but you'll say you only bring in 5. I don't think they put enough confidence in their team that they can work together and say to the sales team, hey, the reason we want to have a $20 million goal is because we want to be able to turn this company into an ESOP, or we want to be able to expand and offer this. What's in it for the sales team if we have these large goals? And again, these goals are important, but giving them a pickle helps people, because most companies realize that over 50% of their sales will come from their existing customers or referrals from their existing customers. We're spending so much time trying to create a lead out of thin air instead of thinking about what Bob Farrell says is, did we do the customer service first so that we can go back to the customers and get repeat business and ask for those loyalty, those trusted, relationships to get a referral. So I think we need to do a better job as companies in setting expectations from our customers, because we exceeded what they expected. Anybody else? Steve, Martin, before I let you guys go?
You nailed it. It's right on.
Okay.
Good
Stuff.
Thank you.
All right. I will post this soon and send out to everybody. If there's anybody else you want to send this to or share this with, maybe use this video as one of your own type of pickles.
Plan on it.
So I'll post it on the YouTube channel and send you guys the link. If you haven't done it, everybody that's listening, make sure you do go to my YouTube channel, Wayne, W-A-Y-N-E, last name D-E-H-N, and you can subscribe, and all of these are posted there, and there's a lot of content you can start using as your own pickle. So, all right, thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate
Thank you,
you
Wayne.
joining us. You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great weekend.